Raise your hands if you thought we would be talking about Manipur in November. I didn't. Hell, when I reached Manipur on May 1st, the issues were straightforward. I was there to follow up on two issues, the demand for Assam-like NRC and the ST status demand for Meiteis. How was I supposed to know that both these issues would act like the mother of all fuel to a fire that, let us admit, we did not know about? We saw sparks, of course, the anger against evictions, the vandalization of a public park about to be inaugurated by N Biren Singh, and the corruption regarding the public distribution system. Now, it is always convenient for journalists, including me, to look back at something and say, yes, that was the trigger point. But I would be lying. Think of it, the Hill-Valley divide in Manipur was always well known, at least among journalists working in the region and not just those who visit when tragedy strikes. But even during peak violence in Manipur in the late 90s and early 2000s, it was never a war between communities. It was not like regular folks asking for the other community to be eliminated. But I will admit, I am genuinely shocked at the levels of hatred that the two communities have thrown at each other, from celebrating deaths to advocating for genocide. Nothing has been left out. 6 months later, is Manipur calmer than it was, say, in June? Yes, is Manipur closer to reconciliation and advocating for peace? Let us not kid ourselves. In this episode of Decoded, we look at what lessons we have learned from Manipur and what lessons we must learn to ensure that the coming days are not as bad as the days that have passed us by. Pursuing for months.
The village of Assam
in the 75th Independence Day.
Remember N Biren Singh? Sorry, just kidding. The Biren Singh of 2022 was the poster boy of Manipur politics, a Meitei who had managed to somehow unite the hills and the valleys, which, as you might know, have had their differences in the past. Kuki MLAs sang praises for Biren Singh, Naga MLAs supported his CMship, and the man had managed to do what no CM had done before. The BJP won a majority on its own, something even the Congress could not manage in its heyday. Biren Singh took pride in the Churachandpur Medical College. He promised equal development, and his government, with 55 of the 60 MLAs, was all set to bring Acche Din to Manipur. Then came May 3, and since then, Biren Singh has been acting like his CMship does not exist in a large part of the state. His statements blamed the violence on communities that voted for his party. His inaction put the lives of all communities in danger, and even after 6 months, he has made no effort to even talk to Kuki MLAs at an official level. And it is not as if his actions against Kukis have made him a darling of the Meitei community either. Remember the victims of pallets? Who were the victims? The state government has completely failed to show a united face in any manner, way or form, and has pretty much ensured that the state might never recover from this debacle. And this after he got the backing of 55 of 60 MLAs. One thing that many have rightly pointed out is that Meiteis and Kukis have had differences in the past over a number of issues, but they have never fought each other, and certainly not this way. But who would believe that if they saw the present day Manipur? It is quite clear now that just because two communities have not been enemies does not mean that modern politics cannot find ways to ensure that both communities consider the other the enemy. And this has been enabled thanks to the absolute madness that is the internet. Over the years, whether it was the issue of eviction carried out in the forests, the demand for the NRC, the ST status demand for the Meiteis, or even the ILP demand, it is quite clear that the narratives for all these demands had one thing in common: the villainization of a community. There are several examples across the world which show that when an entire community becomes an enemy, the result is never ever pleasant. Over the years, this hatred for communities has been manifested in several ways, from harmless memes on the internet or policies in action. Let me give an example. When we learned that some Meiteis had demanded ST status, it was automatically seen as the demand of all Meiteis, even though it was pretty clear that that was not the case. Who made it look like Meiteis had got ST status when they were not closer to it than I was becoming 6 feet tall? Can the state government declare someone ST? No. Did the state government say, yes, we will be doing so, and the centre say, sure, go ahead? Of course not. So who made it sound like the rights of the state tribals were to be curtailed? Similarly, the opposition to the court order came from both Nagas and Kukis. The march called on May 3 was in all tribal regions. So why did only Churachandpur burn? Unlike Nagas, Kukis for years had been projected as outsiders, intruders, and not one of us. The result is for all of us to see. Now allow me to return to May once again. Manipur burnt on May 3, and on May 5, I and Mukunda watched as convoy after convoy entered Manipur, including Churachandpur. So on the second day, it looked as if not only was the centre aware of the seriousness of the situation, but they were also taking proactive measures. This, along with the appointment of retired IPS officer and former CRPF chief Kuki Singh as security advisor, did sound like a positive step, and rightly so. I mean, allow me to digress a little and let me take you back to December 2019. Assam was on fire. People were on the streets, and then came the appointment of GP Singh along with the deployment of central troops, and within days, Assam sort of returned to normal. But Assam is no Manipur, and Manipur is, well, Manipur. The central government, which was more focused on the Karnataka elections until May 12th, has since tried every trick in the book, but the result has been for all of us to see. Amit Shah said, give me 15 days. He got 15 days, and then, well, Congress, Rahul Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, China and Pakistan. PM Modi, well, he did not tweet about Manipur all these months, so why bother now? As we record this, I am pretty sure he will be tweeting about how great Virat Kohli is, which he is, what a guy. And about the Cricket World Cup final, where is it taking place? You guessed it right, in the Narendra Modi Stadium. We have heard every excuse from the central leaders and their favourite spokespersons, but in truth, a death toll of over 200 and a displaced toll of over 50,000 is a pretty clear indicator that the double-engine government turned into a JCB that essentially demolished all hopes of a peaceful Manipur. Now, sure, there have been many attempts by some members from both communities to talk about how they can at least start the process of reconciliation. Even EastMojo tried the same, and while the video did well, the truth is that such attempts have been far and few in between. Sadly, among the people who matter, there have been no such attempts. I mean, the Thanlon MLA nearly lost his life and will probably never be the same again, and yet one Meitei MLA, let alone the CM, did not go visit him. In all these months, there has not been one joint meeting calling for setting up inter-community peace missions. The truth is, even if leaders were to appeal for peace, things may fall on deaf ears. But even that has not happened. The lack of dialogue also has served long-term consequences. Let us assume that Manipur violence ends tomorrow. What about the displaced? Will they return to the places they inhabited? Who would guarantee their safety? We have seen enough stories of neighbors turning on each other. Will that not happen again? There are thousands who would require justice. Who would fight their cases? Do you really think Meitei lawyers would take up Kuki people's cases in the court and vice versa? I mean, Bablu Luthongbam, one of Manipur's tallest human rights leaders who has time and again spoken for the voiceless, was attacked by Meitei vandals because they disagreed with his views. Even T.H. Brinda, the famous ex-cop who took on the drug cartel and predictably lost, was shouted at, humiliated and shamed outside her own house and made to apologize. What peace will ever come when we cannot even acknowledge the other community as human? I feel bad saying this. Manipur was a state that had been crying for all-round development. Despite being India's sporting powerhouse, Manipur is far from being a developed state. Now sure, one can say that about most of India, but allow me to state some facts. An Indian Express report published on May 9, 2023 pointed out that a worsening employment crisis linked to a slowdown in its service sector, a key driver of the hill state's economy, seems to be a contributing factor for the unrest in Manipur. The report added that Manipur had one of the highest unemployment rates for the age group of 15 years and above, at 9%, more than double the national unemployment rate of 4.1% in 2021-2022, and higher than other states in the northeast. Every region within Manipur fared badly in joblessness. The unemployment rate in the Kuki and Naga regions was estimated to be 9.5% for the 2021-22, while the unemployment rate in the urban areas, where much of the Meitei population lives, was only marginally lower at 7.6%. Nearly 65% of men in the state were reported as self-employed in rural areas compared to the all India rate of 59%. In absolute numbers too, the joblessness is scary for a small state like Manipur. One of the figures we have is from a 2020 PTI story which quoted the Manipur government claiming that the total number of unemployed youth in the state had reduced by half between 2014 and 2018. The then Labour and Employment Minister T.H. Radheshyam Singh, replying to a question raised in the Assembly during question hour and quoting the Directorate of Labour and Employment, said the number of unemployed youths in Manipur was 7,21,824 in 2014, which fell to 3,46,690 in 2018. Now compare these numbers to the census 2011 data, which recorded Manipur's population at 2.8 million. The unemployed constitute a staggering 12% of the total population, and this was before the violence began. Such is the condition that the perennial lack of water in the Imphal Valley has, and as I learned during the election coverage last year, provided the valley's youth with one of the biggest avenues for employment: manning water tanks. Peace is the number one pre-requirement for sustained long-term investments. The Manipur government, at least in theory, was trying to address this malaise. Earlier this year, the media in the northeast, especially in Manipur, was abuzz with news of investments. In February 2023, CM Biren Singh informed that he had been assured by delegates of the US taking part in the plenary session of B20 meeting held in Imphal that a US-based company he did not name was willing to invest $500 million in Manipur. Delegates of Argentina and Peru had also expressed their desire to employ female nurses from the state in healthcare centers in their respective countries on learning that a good number of female nurses from Manipur were currently working in Japan. One can only wonder what the aforementioned American company is thinking about now. Or should I wonder if they even know what is happening in Manipur? Now, I had a completely wrecked agriculture season this year. I mean, farmers were shot at for merely farming. What progress? What economy? What future? Last, I will remind our viewers again. Do not, and I repeat this with all sincerely, think that what happened in Manipur may not repeat in other states. We said this on May 28, and since you have come this far, please watch this video. Every element that burnt Manipur is not only present in other northeastern states, there are enough people who are also very interested in ensuring that the rest of northeast states burn like Manipur. I cannot say this with more sincerity. Talk to each other, including those you think are your enemies. Talk, discuss and understand each other. Make sure your politicians talk about this. I mean, when the BJP came to power in Assam in 2016, many people genuinely thought that the Bangladeshi problem would be solved in no time. Are we any closer to a solution? No. Have we raised the issue of deportation of illegals at a diplomatic level? No. Have we built more detention centers? Yes. Has the NRC done anything to solve the problem? No. Do people think illegal immigration is no longer a problem? No. Has the media stopped doing shoddy reports that paint all people from a community as outsiders or illegal immigrants? No. So, what will stop Assam from burning like Manipur? I don't know. Maybe it will not come to that, sure. But that is what we thought about Manipur. I mean, it is not as if Meiteis and Kukis had fought each other. And yet, here we are.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to EastMojo. For any queries, put them down in the comments section below and press on the bell icon for notifications.